Welcome again to this channel. Today we are going to be discussing something that is very important, which is possible interview questions that you might be asked as a support worker, a carer or a caregiver. In this video, I'm going to be telling you these questions. I'll give you tips to know how to answer such questions, and then I'll give you my possible answer. And I'm going to be giving you answer from experience because I have attended 4 different interviews for this same role and I got 3 of those jobs. So I'm going to be giving you answer from a place of what has worked for me, and I believe it's going to work for you. So make sure you stay tuned and watch to the end of this video, because I bet you this video is going to be valuable for your time. In this video, I'm going to be saying the word carer, support work role, caregiver interchangeably. I all mean the same thing. And I'm also going to be using the word healthcare assistant. I all mean the same thing. So just take note of that. The first possible question that you might be asked in an interview as a healthcare assistant is to tell the interviewer about yourself. My number 1 tip is that before you attend any interview, please make sure that you go through the job description and the requirements for such job role. This will give you an idea, and to give you a lot, not just an idea, it will give you a lot of skill that the employee requires from the person that they are looking for this work role, and you can use such skill to market yourself to the employer. The second tip is that you can also say the other things that you love to do out of a work environment to market yourself and to show your strong points and your positivity in life, to help the employer to believe that you are a positive person. If I were to answer this question, this is how I would answer. Thank you so much for inviting me to this interview. I would describe myself as a very caring, compassionate, smart, and committed carer. I love to respect and follow the policy and procedure of the organization I work with. Out of work, I am a positive person who loves to stay fit and enjoy spending time with my loved ones. I love singing and dancing, and I love spreading positive energy. That is a fantastic answer, because you telling your employer that you like to spread positive energy is such a marketable skill that will help the employer to believe that employing you will bring joy into the life of the people that you'll be working with. The second possible question that you'll be asked in an interview for a carer role is, why do you want to work as a carer? The number 1 tip for answering such question is to acknowledge that you understand that this job can be emotionally and physically draining, but then you give them other tips to make them to believe that you really love to work in such environments. So if I were to be answering this question, this is how I would answer. I know this role could be a lot demanding, physically and also emotionally. But as a person that I am, I love to care a lot about people. And I believe this work role will give me a job satisfaction, knowing that every day I go to work, I'm making a positive difference in contributing to improving the life of an individual. I also love that this job can promise a job security, which is important to me. It is a profession I want to be for a long time, and I also would love to progress in it. Fantastic. Telling your employer that you will gain a job satisfaction from an employment is such a joy for an employer to know that, okay, this is what this person really wants. So you need to talk about your positive attributes to caring for people and putting attention to details to make sure you improve other people's life. The other possible question that you might be asked is that, how can you or how would you connect to a new client? The first tip I will give you is that you need to be able to convince the employer that you have the ability to make people feel at ease around you. And also, if you already have an experience working with people as a carer, this is a time to make an example of how you connected with some of your past clients. And also, even if you are new to this role and if you have never been a carer professionally, you can even make an instance of how you connect to people that you have never met before. This is how I would answer. After I am being introduced to a client, I'll find time to read about their background, care plan, and know their interests, their likes and dislikes. And I'll take time to know them and communicate with them, and I'll give them time to be comfortable around me. I'll give them a listening ear whenever they're trying to communicate with me, and I'll attend to their needs promptly. I will also take time talking about their interests and things that they love to spend time talking about, or things that they love spending time with. I will respect and make sure they feel safe around me. Telling your employer that you have such a skill to listen, that you have such a skill to develop interest of the people you are working with, to enjoy spending time with them, is such a good skill to tell your employer that they are not just going to employ you to actually help people out, but it will help them to know that you are not just going to be helping them, you are going to be connecting well with them, and they are going to be feeling safe and secured around you, and you are such a person that they can enjoy spending time with. This other possible question is actually kind of unavoidable question that I see was asked in all my interview, is how do you deal with challenging behavior, or how do you handle a client that is upset or distressed? So this question is actually unavoidable. Oh my goodness, I just realized that I've been using employer a lot in this video. I meant interviewer. You need to be able to convince your interviewer that you have a good communication and listening skill, and that you are patient, and you have the ability to reassure people and make sure people feel safe and secure around you. This is how I would answer this question. Prior to any occurrence or incident, I would have read about how best to support such a client, and I will adapt a good style of communication in a very nice tone to see how I can best support the client. I'll make sure the environment the client is safe for them and for others around them, and I'll call for help as soon as possible if I risk assess that it is something I can't handle on my own. That is such a fantastic answer. The thing they are looking for in this answer is that number one, you have a good communication skill, like I said before, and listening skill. You make sure that you risk assess. That's a very good word. Make sure you use that word, risk assess, that the environment that the client is safe. So if they are displaying some challenging behavior, they can't hurt themselves or harm the people around them. And also, another point in that answer is that you need to know how to call for help. So when you are facing a challenging behavior, a support work or a carer role is not a loner kind of role. You are expected to work with people. So when you are facing such a challenge, you need to know if you're going to press the emergency bell, or maybe you need to call 999 or call the police or anything. So you need to show that you are not going to be a loner or try to face things by yourself. You need to have the ability to call for help. So those are the three most important things: communication and listening, risk assessment, and also calling for help. The other possible question, which is most likely that you'll be asked, is that how would you work under pressure? This is a very important question, because working as a carer, every day is not the same. There are some days that might look light, as if nothing is really going on, and you might feel like you're not really working intensely. And there are some days that you will be under pressure. There will be a lot of things to do, and you don't have a lot of time to do those things. So how would you work under pressure? The tip number one is to try to market yourself to your interviewer that you are a planner, that you are a good planner, you love planning ahead, and that you are a calm person. If you can market this to your interviewer, you're good to go. So this is how I would respond to this question. I always love to remain calm in every situation I find myself, and composed while I work fast as possible, but still maintaining and prioritizing safety. I also plan my work ahead. This will enable me to know what to do per time and the best time to do that, fashioning to my client's needs. I'll also be open to feedbacks, which will help me to see areas I need to improve on. So the tips in this answer is that number one, you like to plan ahead. Number two is that you remain calm. And number three is that you are open to feedbacks, because everyone has a blind spot. So when you are working in an organization and you are under pressure, there might be some things that you're missing out. So you need to be able to market to your interviewer that when you are being called out to something to improve on, you are open to correction and you're happy to improve on yourself. This other possible question is almost unavoidable, which is safeguarding. So you'll be asked, what do you understand by safeguarding? So you need to do your little research about safeguarding, but in this video I'm going to be explaining briefly to you in an understandable way what a safeguarding is. Safeguarding refers to protecting a client's health, well-being, and human rights. It provides guidelines on the actions that I and others must take to keep our clients safe from harm, abuse, and neglect. And I will ensure I provide high-quality care at all times in line with the rules, procedure, and laws. So you need to be able to tell your employer that you are able to follow the rules and procedure of the organization and of the government and of the law of the country you are living in to protect your clients. Now I'm going to be talking about some of the words that you need to be familiar with that might come up in your interview, even if your interviewer knows that you have never worked as a carer before. So when I went for my last interview, I was surprised I was asked this question because I thought my interviewer knew I had never worked as a carer, so I thought maybe they won't ask me like the terms they use in such an environment, but no, I was asked such questions. So I don't want you to miss out on this. So these are some of the terms that you need to be familiar with. Abbreviations. MCA is called Mental Capacity Act. And what does this mean? Mental Capacity Act is designed to protect and empower people who may lack the mental capacity to make their own decisions and their care and treatment. And this is between the age of 16 and over. And the example of people that this is applied to is people living with dementia, learning disability, brain injury, mental health, stroke, and unconsciousness. So in simple terms, it's people that lack the capacity to do some things. It's designed to protect them so that whatever decision you are making on their behalf is in their best interest, and you must have risk assess and tick a lot of boxes before you arrive at whatever decision you're making. The other term you should be familiar with is called DOLS, D-O-L-S, which is deprivation of liberty safeguarding. So I talked about safeguarding earlier. So deprivation of liberty safeguarding means that people that don't have the capacity to do some things, they might put themselves in some risk that they might not even be aware of. So this is designed to protect them so that they don't put themselves in such a risk that could put them in harm, danger, or even death. So for example, some people on their bed, they have something they call a bed rail. So this bed rail is meant to protect them from falling out of bed, because they don't have the ability to know that if they fall out of bed, they don't even know that they are going to fall out of bed. So this bed rail is put on their bed to safeguard them from falling out of bed and injury or even causing their death. So before you can put a bed rail on someone's bed, you need to risk assess. You need to make sure that you are doing that in their best interest, and you can't just do it. You need to tell the body that is available for these doors to come and risk assess such a patient before you put such and such a thing in place to protect them. So this is just like a little summarization of what it means. So there's also what they call LPS, which is Liberty Protection Safeguarding. It's like DOLS. So DOLS were the first one to come out. So LPS came out again, and in LPS is also exactly like DOLS. It's just, I think because that is like a deprivation of liberty, so they are kind of fighting that nobody should be deprived of their own liberty. So they kind of are changing it to liberty protection safeguarding. Everyone should have their liberty. But then if you are risk assessing to protect people, you need to do it in such a way that is less restrictive to that person and is safe for that person and is in their best interest. The last but not the least question that you might be asked in your interview is a scenario question. So they kind of paint a scenario for you that, okay, what if such and such happens, what would you do? So you need to kind of widen your mind and try to think of so many things. So I'll give you an example of a scenario question that they might ask you. So they might ask you, you are walking through a corridor and you saw one of your colleagues talking to one of the clients you are working with in a rude way and in a disturbing way that you feel uncomfortable with. What would you do? Another scenario question is, you hear about two staff talking about a client in a rude way or openly in the loud when other people from outside are there. What would you do? So you need to stop such a conversation. You don't get yourself involved in and try to stop it, because there's something that we call confidentiality. So when confidentiality means that whatever happens in your work stays at work. You don't go outside and talk about it. So when you see someone that is trying to do that, you need to stop it and you need to report it to your manager. And one other thing is that don't be afraid to say you don't know. If there's a question that you're being asked in your interview and you actually don't know the answer to such question, especially if you've never been a carer before, they are not going to judge you for it, because they know that when you say you don't know, please say it in a way that is very nice, and then you say it in a way that you are open to, like, can you please tell me about it? So that shows that you are even open to learn and you are willing to learn. So in an interview, you can even gain 1 or 2 things out of your interview. So if there's any question you don't understand, ask and you'll be told. I bet this video has been value for your time. In my next video, I'm going to be bringing a friend of mine onto this channel. She's a nurse in the UK, and she's going to be talking about possible interview questions that you will be asked if you are preparing for a nursing career in the UK. And especially, this will be especially for people that are out of UK that wants to come into the UK as a nurse, and she'll be telling you the questions that you will likely be asked, also the documents that you will need for your nursing application in the UK. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, thank you so much, and God bless you, and I'll see you in my next video. Please don't forget to stay subscribed to this channel. There's so much juicy things that is coming up on this channel, and I can't wait to share them with you. Thank you.